Right now, you don't need to fight your way into a better life. You don't need to force your thoughts into perfect shapes or convince yourself to feel something you don't feel. You just need one small moment where your whole system softens and remembers that receiving is allowed. Because if you're honest, the hardest part isn't imagining abundance. The hardest part is letting it be real for you without immediately bracing for the other shoe to drop. You feel something good approach, and a guarded little voice whispers, "Don't get your hopes up." And you may not even hear that voice as words. You might feel it as a tight throat, a clenched jaw, a restless energy in your hands, as if you have to do something right now to keep yourself safe. So let's begin in the simplest way, not by chasing, not by fixing, by coming home. Place one hand gently on your heart. Let the touch say, "I'm here with you," and place your other hand on your lower belly, right below your navel, where your instincts live, where you feel life. Now let your breath slow down just a little. You don't have to do it perfectly. Notice the air arriving and leaving. Notice the rise under your hand and the fall. Let your face soften. Let your tongue rest. Let your shoulders unclimb from around your ears. And as you breathe, quietly say to yourself, "I am safe to receive." Say it again softly, "I am safe to receive." If your mind argues, that's okay. If your body doesn't believe you yet, that's okay. This isn't about forcing belief. It's about offering a new possibility, like placing a warm cup of tea in cold hands and letting the warmth do its work. Breathe in. I am safe to receive. Breathe out. Let your shoulders drop, even a fraction. Now add one more sentence. Life supports me in visible and invisible ways. You're not trying to prove it. You're letting the idea rest inside you without resistance, like a seed settling into soil. This simple practice works because it touches the real root of abundance. Abundance is not only something you want, it's something you can hold. And what you can hold depends on how safe you feel. Many people think abundance is about wanting more, but wanting can turn into pressure, and pressure carries an unspoken message: I don't have it. So we're not adding pressure. We're creating safety, not forcing, but allowing, not begging, but opening. Sometimes you don't block abundance with negativity. Sometimes you block it with tension, with the subtle flinch that says, if I relax, I'll be disappointed, or if I receive, I'll owe, or if things get good, something bad must be coming. And that flinch isn't your fault. It often formed in moments you had no control over. It was your intelligence trying to protect you. So we're not punishing the flinch. We're teaching it a new option. Maybe you know this moment. You see a message that could be an opportunity, and before you even open it, your stomach tightens. Not because you don't want it, but because you want it so much it feels dangerous. Your mind starts rehearsing every possible outcome. You preemptively disappoint yourself so the actual disappointment won't sting as much. You might call it being realistic, but underneath, it's self-protection. Or maybe you finally rest, and instead of relief, guilt rises. You sit down, and a part of you becomes restless, scanning the air for tasks you forgot. Your mind whispers, you should be productive. You should be earning your place. Rest doesn't feel like rest. It feels like you're doing something wrong. And then you wonder why you're tired all the time, even on days when you technically did nothing. Or you get an idea that could expand your life, and instead of excitement, you feel pressure. You start comparing yourself. You think you need more training, more time, more certainty. You wait until you're more ready. The idea arrives like a bird on your windowsill and flies away because the room is too loud. None of this makes you broken. It makes you human. It makes you someone who has adapted. So when you say, I am safe to receive, you are speaking directly to the part of you that thinks goodness is risky. You're telling your inner world, we can handle support. We can handle ease. We can handle more. And here's a gentle truth. Your subconscious doesn't respond best to lectures. It responds to signals. It responds to what you repeatedly feel. Touch and breath are signals. They tell the deeper part of you, we are not in danger right now. And when your system feels less threatened, your mind becomes clearer, your choices become steadier, and you notice openings you used to miss. That's what people often mean when they talk about vibration or frequency. It's not about being perfect, it's about the emotional climate you live in. If your inner climate is fear and bracing, you'll naturally make decisions from fear and bracing. If your inner climate becomes steadier, more trusting, more open, you begin to meet life differently. You become more available for solutions, for connection, for creative ideas, for support that's already nearby. Now let's make it even more practical, because this is meant for real life, not just for quiet moments. Before you check an app, an email, a message thread that makes you anxious, do the practice. Hand on heart, hand on belly. One breath. I am safe to receive. Another breath. Life supports me in visible and invisible ways. Then you open it from a calmer place. Even if the news isn't what you hoped, you'll meet it with more dignity. And if it is what you hoped, you'll be able to let it land instead of immediately scanning for the catch. Before you ask for something you need, support, clarity, a fair exchange, time, do the practice, not to beg life, but to remember your worth. You ask as someone who belongs here. You ask as someone who is allowed to take up space. And when guilt rises, you pause and breathe again. The practice doesn't tell you what to do. It helps you hear yourself without panic. Sometimes you'll discover you were about to say yes out of people-pleasing. Sometimes you'll discover you were about to say no out of fear. Either way, you come back to choice, because so many people carry invisible rules. If it's easy, it's not real. If it's given, it will be taken away. If I receive, I'll disappoint someone else. If I have more, I'll become someone I don't like. If I do well, I'll be expected to do everything. These rules can feel like facts when they've been repeated for years. They're not facts, they're conditioning. And you are allowed to rewrite them. You are allowed to live in a gentler story. Let's deepen the practice with a few simple phrases. Use what feels kind, leave what doesn't. And as you speak them, let your body be the judge. Does it soften? Does it resist? Both are valuable information. Breathe in, I belong in a life that supports me. Breathe out, I release the need to prove. Breathe in, I am worthy of ease. Breathe out, I allow myself to soften. Breathe in, I can receive without guilt. Breathe out, I can give from fullness, not depletion. Breathe in, I can trust myself with change. Breathe out, I don't have to control everything. If emotion rises, that's not a problem. Sometimes tears are just your body letting go of an old contract. And if you feel nothing, that's okay too. You're allowed to take your time. Some parts of you have been on guard for a long time. They might need consistency more than intensity. Now notice another very common pattern. Someone compliments you. You did such a great job. I love your energy. I'm proud of you. And before you can feel the warmth, your mouth says, oh, it was nothing, or I got lucky. Or you quickly change the subject. You might think you're being humble, but what if it's the habit of staying small so you don't risk being judged, so you don't risk expecting more from life, so you don't risk being seen? In that moment, abundance was there in the form of nourishment, and you pushed it away automatically. So here's a tiny abundance practice inside the practice. The next time someone offers you something kind, words, help, a compliment, try receiving it like a warm blanket. Let it touch you. Let it matter. You don't have to say anything fancy. Just thank you. And then breathe once and let your body register. This is safe. This is how the abundance mindset becomes real. Not as a big dramatic leap, but as 1,000 small yeses to support. Because part of activating an abundance mindset is learning to let small goodness land. A compliment, a kind gesture, a helpful suggestion, a moment of calm. These are tiny receipts from life that say, you are supported. And if you dismiss them, your system stays convinced support is rare. If you practice receiving in small ways, your system learns it's safe in larger ways. Imagine a garden. When the soil is hard, water runs off. But when the soil is soft, it absorbs. Your breath and your hands are softening the soil. You are becoming more absorbent to life. Now, receiving doesn't mean saying yes to everything. Receiving isn't settling. Receiving is allowing what truly supports you to enter and trusting yourself to know the difference. Your hand on your belly is your reminder of discernment. It's your inner yes and no. It's your quiet truth. So if you're someone who is overgiven, who has carried too much, receiving may feel unfamiliar. You may even feel selfish at first. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're stepping out of an old role. Let's do one short guided round together, as if you're stepping into a calmer version of yourself for a moment. Hand on heart, hand on belly. Take a breath that feels kind. I am safe to receive. Let your eyes soften as you say it. Life supports me in visible and invisible ways. Feel the steadiness under your hand. I allow good to reach me. Notice if your chest wants to open. I am worthy of being helped. Let that sentence be simple and true. Now, what about the old thoughts that come back? You don't fight them. You meet them with compassion. You treat them like a frightened part of you that learned to expect scarcity. If a thought says, "It's not going to work," you can answer, "I only need to be willing." If a thought says, "I don't deserve it," you can answer, "That's an old story, and I'm writing a new one." If a thought says, "I'll lose it," you can answer, "I trust myself to handle change." If a thought says, "It's selfish," you can answer, "When I'm supported, I have more to share." If a thought says, "I'm behind," you can answer, "I am allowed to begin where I am." This is not a battle, it's a re-education. And because you feel deeply, your environment matters. Scarcity talk, constant urgency, criticism, these keep your system braced. So when you can, choose gentle inputs, a calmer room, a softer conversation, a few minutes of quiet. Even turning your phone face down for a moment can be a spiritual act. You're allowed to protect your energy. Now I want to offer you a bedtime version of this practice, because evening is often when the mind starts replaying everything. You lie down, and suddenly you remember every unfinished task, every worry, every what if. That's not you failing. That's the mind trying to regain control. So tonight, or whenever you're ready, try this in bed. Hand on heart, hand on belly. Feel the mattress holding you. Feel gravity doing the work for you. Let your breath be small and easy, and whisper inside, I am safe to receive. Then, I am safe to receive rest. Then, I am safe to receive tomorrow's solutions in tomorrow's time. Notice what happens when you give your mind permission to stop solving the future. You don't have to carry tomorrow tonight. You're allowed to put it down. And if you want a simple question to pair with this, ask yourself very gently, what support am I refusing without realizing it? Don't force an answer. Let the question float like a feather. Sometimes the answer is as simple as, I could ask for help, or I could accept that compliment, or I could let myself pause, or I could stop judging myself for needing. And here's a little way to make this even easier. Treat receiving like a muscle. You don't build a muscle by doing one intense workout and then never moving again. You build it with small, consistent movements that teach your body, this is normal now. So choose one tiny daily moment where you practice receiving on purpose. It can be when you pour a glass of water, when you make tea, when you step into the shower, when you open a window and feel the air. As you do that simple thing, touch your heart for one breath and say, I receive this. That's it. You're training your system to let goodness in without negotiating. And if you want to take it one step further, make a receiving list in your mind before sleep. Not a gratitude list where you have to be upbeat, but a gentle inventory of support. Anything, even the smallest thing. A kind cashier. A text that made me feel seen. A moment where my mind got quiet. A meal that warmed me. A problem that didn't happen. When you notice support, your mind learns to look for it. And when you look for it, you feel less alone inside your own life. You might even notice that solutions show up in ordinary forms. Someone shares a resource. You remember an idea at the right time. A conversation opens a door. You find yourself saying no to what drains you and yes to what nourishes you. None of this needs to be dramatic to be powerful. Small support is still support. And if you've been carrying the belief that receiving means you'll lose your independence, let's soften that too. Receiving doesn't make you weak. It makes you connected. It reminds you that life is not meant to be carried on one pair of shoulders. You can still be strong and receive. You can still be capable and accept help. You can still be wise and let yourself be held. Right now, imagine a gentle, golden light above you, like late afternoon sun. With every inhale, it drifts down into your chest, warm and steady. With every exhale, it spreads through your belly, calming the old urgency. You don't have to earn this light. You don't have to chase it. You simply allow it to arrive, and you let your body learn. Goodness can be gentle. Now, one more moment you might recognize. You set an intention for more ease, and then life offers you a doorway, an invitation, a chance, a connection. But it asks you to show up differently, to be seen, to accept help, to step into a bigger version of you. And suddenly you find reasons to decline. Not the right time. Maybe later. I'm not ready. Later becomes never. So before you respond, you breathe. Hand on heart, hand on belly. I am safe to receive. And you ask, what would I choose if I trusted life a little more? Sometimes the answer will still be no, and that's okay. Your no can be sacred. But sometimes the answer will be a gentle yes, and your life shifts because you didn't flinch. In the coming days and weeks, you may notice you spiral less quickly. You pause before you self-sabotage. You accept a compliment without deflecting. You rest without immediately punishing yourself. You ask for what you need with a steadier voice. You notice small support showing up, and instead of dismissing it, you let it count. Not because you forced life to obey you, but because you changed what you're available for. You became available for support. And you don't have to become a different person to receive. You don't have to be louder, tougher, or perfect. You get to receive as you are, with your tender heart and your quiet strength. Your sensitivity is a compass. It helps you sense what's true. It helps you choose what nourishes you. So if you've been trying so hard to think positively while your body feels tired, let this be your new approach. Less forcing, more soothing, less chasing, more allowing. Because the abundance mindset is not a mood you manufacture. It's a safety you cultivate. It's a relationship you build with life, one breath at a time. Let these words settle in you now like warm light. I am safe to receive. I am worthy of support that nourishes me. I allow myself to notice what is working. I release the habit of bracing for disappointment. I can receive without guilt. I can rest without fear. I can say yes to what aligns with me. I can say no without apology. Life can meet me gently. I belong here. I am allowed to be helped. I am allowed to be surprised by goodness. I am allowed to live with more ease than I'm used to. Now take one more breath with your hand on your heart. Feel that you are here. Feel that you are learning. Let this be enough for today. You don't have to do this perfectly. You only have to return. You are safe to receive. If you'd like, return to this practice whenever your mind starts to tighten and let it bring you back to yourself. And you are allowed to let life love you back.